there was a tornado touchdown. What the heck is happening? I am a tornado survivor. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, as you can tell from the title, I'm going to be doing a story time video, and these are super popular right now, so I thought I would go ahead and give you guys my own story. If you guys want to see more, then make sure you go ahead down below and subscribe so you won't miss when I post a new one. So this story has some background, I guess, details that I need to first point out. So the first thing is, if you guys either know me or you watch my week in my life videos, you know that I nanny every Friday, and I've been doing that for the past 3 years or so. So yeah, I nanny every Friday, and it's about 25-30 minutes away from where I live. So every Friday I go and nanny, and at this time last year I had my old phone which would die randomly. It would be at 98% and it would just die. So I know this is kind of a common problem, so hopefully you guys know what I mean, but it would just die, I don't know. And I didn't have a car charger. Okay, so that's the background information. So one Friday last summer, I was watching the girls and I took them to their swim meet, which is about 20 minutes away from their house. So that puts me about 50 minutes away from my house. So I dropped them off at their swim meet, and it starts getting really black in the sky. So I'm like, oh shoot, it looks like it's gonna rain and stuff. So I just kind of wanted to get out of there. So I get in my car and I start driving, and it's getting blacker and blacker. And as you guys can tell from the outside, it's literally that weather right now. Anyway, that's kind of when I was driving home today, I was like, this is perfect time to film this video. So I'm driving and I have the location to my house put into my phone in GPS. So it's taking me home, and I get to this red light and I'm stopped, completely stopped, and I take out my phone and I'm Snapchatting, and I'm like, LOL, look at the black sky, it's getting so dark, kind of joking around about this huge storm that was coming. And where I'm from, storms happen, but they're never really tornadoes or anything too bad. So I'm just okay, haha, Snapchatting, this storm is coming. And then I put my phone away and I start driving again, and literally within 2 seconds, it starts getting super windy. All these branches start blowing down and covering the road, so it starts getting kind of hectic to drive and stuff, and I'm trying to pay attention to my directions. So then I'm literally driving and it starts kind of raining but not pouring, a heavy rain, and the car in front of me literally stops, and a tree falls on the car in front of me, legit stops it and falls on top of it, and it can't move. So I'm slamming on the brakes, holy crap, oh my god, what do I do? What do I do? So then all these cars around me start pulling off into this one neighborhood because all the trees were falling onto the road and they kind of wanted to get away from the trees. And I am terrified of storms, my biggest fear. So I'm freaking out. So I wasn't thinking to pull over either, but then I finally did, and it starts pouring. This is when you couldn't see, you couldn't drive. So everyone's in this one neighborhood, and that car, all I can think about is literally sitting under the tree. I'm hoping that the people are okay. At this point, it's pitch black. It's the color that it is right now. I mean, it's not late. I think it's 5 something right now. So, but yeah, so it was pitch black, starts pouring, and then the thunder and lightning comes, and it's the trees in the neighborhood are blowing. I mean, they're small trees, but they're blowing, and it looked like they were gonna snap and stuff. And I'm not describing it well, but it was insane. All these cars are pulled off into this neighborhood, and you're just sitting there, and I'm literally sitting there oh my god, I'm gonna die. This is how I'm gonna die. And I'm thinking, do I go into this house? What do I do? So I called my dad, and I start freaking out. I'm like, Dad, I don't know where I am, because I didn't. I was I had to pull off, so I'm not on the GPS route home anymore. So I'm Dad, I don't know where I am, but you need to come find me, because I'm terrified of storms. I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And then my phone dies, because it randomly dies. That's just what happened, and I didn't have a car charger. So I'm literally in the middle of nowhere, because it was on the way home. I didn't know my sense of direction at this point, because it was on a back road, and it was from the swim meet home, so it wasn't from where I normally babysit. It's so loud and it's so hectic, and the wind is so loud, everything is so loud, it's so dark, and I'm just sitting there great, this is how everything ends. But yeah, so finally I start to pull myself together, but not really, because I'm still bawling my eyes out. But all of these cars start pulling out, and I'm still freaking out, because I don't know what to do. I don't even know how to get home if I were to get back on the road. and I can't call anyone because my phone's dead. So finally, once all the other cars are gone, because the storm, it's not gone, but it's like calmed a lot, I go out. But by the time that I had gotten there, the police were all there and like the fire trucks and stuff because of the car that was stuck under the tree. So they shut down the road, and the road was like a back road, so it was like very long. So they had to shut it off at like far out points so no one would like get stuck, if that makes sense. So I'm just sitting there and I'm like, great. So I go up to a fireman or a policeman, I forget who it was, and I was like, hi, so my phone died and I need to get in touch with my dad. Can I please use yours? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then I realized I don't know my dad's cell phone number. So I'm like, great. So in the moment, I'm like freaking out. So I don't even think to like call my mom and be like, what's dad's cell phone number? So I'm just sitting there, and this really nice girl comes out. She was probably like a year or so older than me. And she's like, do you need help? Like, do you want to come in my house? Like, so I was like, sure. So I go in her house, and like nothing was happening, and her power was out. So like I couldn't charge my phone. So I just like didn't know what to do. So I go back out, and I'm like sitting in my car on the closed road. And oh, by the way, the people like under the car, they were fine. So then they put up like the flare things so no one can pass. And then like all of a sudden, this like woman at the end of the road all the way down starts like screaming, like waving her arms like, hey, like down here. And so the policeman drives his car down there. He's like, no, this road is closed, like you can't pass through here. And she's like, no, like that's my niece up there. And it was my aunt, and she literally drove and found me, because I don't know if I said this, but the girls that I nanny and said that's my cousins, and so it's my aunt. So my aunt drives and finds me because she like assumed like that I had gotten stuck or something, because the storm was that bad. Like it was so bad. So she just assumed that I'd gotten stuck. So she drove the path that like she would have thought that the GPS would take me. So she drove, she saw the closed road, and she saw my car sitting at the top of like the road. So she's like screaming. So then the police had to drive down. They go drive down, tell her like, no, it's closed. They're like, that's my niece. So they open it up to her. She drives up, and she's like standing with me. And then she's like, okay, here's the game plan. We're just gonna drive back to my house. Sorry, my mom was calling me, but I'm pretty sure what I was saying is, so my aunt got me, the police escorted us, and we went back to her house, which is where I babysit, and my dad had just driven there thinking I would be in the area. So we all meet back there, and my dad's like freaking out, being like, what happened? Because apparently the storm didn't hit where I live, which was 25 minutes away. It had only hit where I was, and it was just crazy. And they pretty much were like, okay, well, the lesson you learned is to have a car charger, and so now I have a car charger. But yeah, it was really just like an insane, like I think it lasted like 25-30 minutes of like the whole entire like experience, but it felt like hours. The craziest part of this story is that the next day, when all of like the news coverage was on this, they actually had confirmed a tornado touchdown right where I was. So it was like I was in a tornado. What? There's not tornadoes where I live and stuff, and I hadn't even heard about it. My aunt sent it to me. Like my aunt was like, listen, it was a tornado. And I was just like, I'm like deathly afraid of storms and tornadoes and stuff. So I was like, that's okay. So that was my story for this video, and if you guys liked it, then make sure to thumbs it up, and I will make more of them. And make sure to subscribe to my channel so you can see when I post new videos all the time. And I will see you guys in my next video.